listening to the ECG Hackers podcast.
And welcome to this week's Hackers podcast. Every episode available on Spotify and YouTube.
ECG, where everybody can golf.
Now watch this drive.
Hey there, golf fans. Welcome to the ECG Hackers podcast. I'm the Ashman. Joining us from Sydney on this intimate one-on-one episode of the Hackers podcast, Zuuc, brother. How are you going, mate?
I'm traveling well, Ash. I'm traveling well. Hope you are too.
Mate, I'm feeling good. I've had a great week. I feel healthy, feeling energized, and I'm really looking forward to just this conversation on golf and everything that you're going to bring to the table, Chris.
Looking forward to a bit of a chat. Looking forward to it.
Nice. You mentioned to me before, someone did mention on Instagram about your collectibles behind you. What did you pick up something this week on the Funkos?
Yeah, just look, it's forever growing, which is a little sad at someone my age. But no, this week it was a Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Nice.
So that's the latest edition. It's off camera at the moment, but if you recall back a couple of episodes, he was the captain on my wrestling four ball. So needed to have one in the collection.
Yeah, I do remember because he was on my team as well. Nice. Coming up this hour on the ECG Hackers podcast, we're going to have our Who's in Your Four Ball segment, which is where we choose who's on our four ball team. And this week's theme is you have to be an Australian World Champion. That's coming up pretty early in the show. And then we've got Ripped or Yipped later on at the back end. And a bit of locker room chat. I believe we're going to talk about Anthony Kim a little bit later on. But right now, more importantly, Belvedere.
Let's get this show rolling like a perfect putt and head over to Zuuc in the ECG newsroom. Over to you.
Thanks, Belvedere. And if you've been listening to the last few episodes, I think you're going to know where the news is going to start. So, it was a pretty epic performance by Nelly, claiming her three-peat with the win at the inaugural Ford Championship. It was a clinical performance, rounds of 66, 68, and 69. Kept it close heading into the final round. She then dropped the hammer on Sunday, shooting a bogey-free 7 under par 65 to post a 20 under score for the tournament. Then she just sat there in the clubhouse sipping on some cup of soup, trying to keep warm as the rest of the field tried but failed to match the score that she posted. This was the first time since 2016, I believe, on the LPGA Tour that someone has won 3 consecutive tournaments.
Yeah, wow.
So with major season fast approaching, Ash, if I were to set the line at 1.5 major wins for Nelly, would you take the over or would you take the under?
In a season? Are we talking in one season?
In one season. And I've got to remind you that the women's majors, there's 5 of them, not 4. So
okay, right.
Do you think she's going to win more than 1.5 or less than 1.5 majors this season for 2024?
I said 3. Funny enough. So I said over. I said over. The reason being, as long as she doesn't burn out, she's young, she's technically beautiful to watch. One of the most beautiful swings. Yeah. Ernie Els comes to mind as well, that smooth butter sort of swing. She's athletic, got a great physique. I think if she keeps healthy, she'll be one of the greats in the next 20 years. So I reckon she could do 3 in a year. So, yes. The only thing I think could hold her back, and it'd be interesting what you think if there's any mums out there as well, is if she gets to that age where maybe she has children, that could sort of take away from a couple of years of her golf. But I think other than that, this chick's going to be amazing. One of the greats, in my opinion. Yeah,
she's certainly on track. I think with that win, she's now up to 12 or 13 points in terms of the Hall of Fame point system. If you recall, I think it's a race to 25 or 27 for eligibility into the LPGA Hall of Fame. So I think she's on track there. Certainly this year, it's a loaded year. It's an Olympic year. So when you think about it, it's really 5 majors plus the Olympics that are the big events. I agree, burnout is a big thing. But in the interviews that she gave after the tournament, she really enjoyed and made the most of the break that she took after her first win. If you recall the win that she denied Lydia Ko, getting that 1 point to get her into the Hall of Fame earlier on. So after that, she took a hiatus for about 6 weeks and kind of relaxed, worked on her game, and in interviews she gave in the past couple of weeks, she said that was really beneficial. So I think she's primed. I had her down for 2. I think majors are hard to win at the best of times. To sweep 3 out of 5, I think that would be an epic performance. I'd love to see it as a Nelly fan. I had her down as over as well, but for 2 wins.
Yeah, cool. Hey, just before you go ahead with the news, is it set in stone that to qualify for the Olympic team you have to be rated in the world, or is that just each country's stipulations? Like Australia is saying, it looks like Cam Smith won't play in the Olympics because he's not rated high enough. But you can't tell me that Spain won't put John Rahm in. Is it something you have to do? There
are some automatic qualifier pieces. I don't have the entire answer in, but I'll certainly make sure we do that before we get to the Olympics, and we'll probably have a bit of an Olympics preview. But there is a piece around official world golf rankings again, which would have a detriment for players like Cam Smith, whose points are rapidly deteriorating the longer that they've been on the LIV Tour. So yes, he's at a disadvantage, and certainly someone like Minwoo Lee would be, more likely to represent Australia, given where he's positioned on that ranking list. So the rankings do play a role. I don't have a specific answer for you, unfortunately, at this point.
Yeah. I reckon it looks like in the Australian team right now, this is a total digression, and I apologise in the news break.
All good, mate. All good.
Adam Scott looks like he'd be probably in the Olympic team, you'd think. Potentially Minwoo Lee. That looks like about it right now. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted. Chris, back to you, brother.
No. And I guess continuing on with our US part of, call it the weekend's golfing tournaments, if we move on to the Houston Open and the men, it really revealed that Scotty Scheffler is human after all. In an entertaining finish to the tournament, Scheffler had a 5-foot putt to force a playoff, but his recently reliable putter let him down as he pushed the putt wide. In contrast, the winner, Steven Jaeger, his putter was in strong form, gaining strokes on the greens every day of the tournament, and ultimately finishing 3rd in the field in putting overall. This was Jaeger's first win on the PGA Tour. And one interesting tidbit about Jaeger is that he keeps 3 personalised ball markers that his wife made for him in his bag.
Nice.
One of his son, one of his dog, and one of his dad. His dad unfortunately passed away a couple of years back. So at the start of every round, whoever he pulls out of his bag, he uses, that day as the ball marker. And on Sunday, the marker that he pulled out was his father. So in interviews after the round, Jaeger said of using the ball marker of his father for the final round, I just kind of smiled. That was my good omen for the day. And certainly was a good omen for him pocketing his first win. So I guess, Ash, similar to Jaeger, do you carry a good luck charm in your golf bag?
Actually I do. And it's a pointless addition to the bag, but it's a couple of things. Well, I'll say 3 things, similar to Jaeger. I've got an ECG Hackers ball marker, which I do have, and I use that now. But I've got a blue tee that I bought late 90s at Riverside Oaks in Sydney.
Your favourite course?
One of those things I've had. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it used to be my favourite course, Riverside Oaks. Yeah. It's a blue tee. It has these brush bristles on it, and it was designed that your ball is like sitting up on grass. It's interesting. It's got these 1-inch bristles. I used it a few times, but it's just always in my bag. I always love to see it's there. I just checked it's there now. And my putter. So those 3 things, I couldn't play around in golf without my Odyssey putter. It's as old as the hills. It's 1995. That would be my 3 lucky charms, I would say, mate. What about you? Have you got one?
I wouldn't say that I do. I'm more probably just a creature of habit and superstition rather than having a lucky charm. So there's certain things I do in
you like
terms
your
of
scorebook in the back pocket, eh?
Correct. Those kind of things in terms of, a bit of a superstitious person when it comes to process rather than a lucky charm is probably my thing. So just moving on and still talking about the Houston Open. I don't know if you saw or read about this, but things got a little heated between Alejandro Tosti and Tony Finau during Sunday's round. Tension started to simmer on the 4th as they had a dispute about who was away first on the green. Both balls were pretty equally distant from the cup, and both were positioned near one another. So one would have got a read on the putt that would have been advantageous. Ultimately, the group decided that they needed the third player to adjudicate, and that third player decided it was Tosti to putt. And in the end, both players end up making par. They moved on to the next hole, and Tosti made a birdie. And as he was walking away, walked past Finau and gave some fist pumps in his direction, as if almost a bit of a, an FU just in Finau. And then, surprise, surprise, on the 6th, here we are again with a similar dispute. And this time they called in the PGA rule official to adjudicate on this one. And the official advised the players, well, there really isn't a penalty with respect to, playing out a turn in any event involving stroke play. Per the rule, and I'll read this one out, per the rule 6.4b1, if 2 or more balls are the same distance from the hole or their relative distances are not known, the ball to be played first should be decided by agreement or by using a random method. So they couldn't agree initially. The random method put forward by the official was a coin flip. They both denied that. And so eventually they finally agreed. And again, it was Tosti who was, to putt first. So, I guess, have you had a similar experience where things have been, a little heated in respect of who would, putt first or who would play the first stroke?
No, good question. Absolutely no. And big no for me. I've never had that problem on the golf course. I haven't played a lot of competitions. I've played a lot of 4-ball charity sort of stuff. But I thought this was ridiculous. I just wrote, as far as I'm concerned here, the furthest from the hole should always putt first. So if they were really close, just the furthest from the hole in that instance. And the ball, whoever's just in front should have been marked, club head off to the right. So the ball marker's off to the right or left, and then you make your putt. It's that simple. I felt that was really someone was trying to play an alpha move there. But in my opinion, the longer that took for them to sort out and to get the putt, the weaker you look. In my mind, you look weak because you're not confident going up there making your putt. Like, I would have gone in that instance, bugger it. I'm going to have a shot. I'll take it. You can piss around all you like. I'm going to take this putt and I'm going to sink it. So I just felt the longer that went on, the weaker you looked. And in my opinion, that was just my take on it. But
okay. So, they did, obviously on the coverage go to, their what they call shot link, or the service that they use for the official measuring, and both on the 6th, both were 38 feet and 8 inches from the hole. So
are you kidding me? So it happened twice.
If they were to go to the stats and to the empirical measure, both were identically equidistant from the cup on the 6th.
Okay.
So look, I agree with your position there. I didn't mind the bit of mongrel that Tosti showed. Like, often golfers are a little too, reserved, and I just liked that he had a little bit of aggro and was willing to, he's just a rookie, and was willing to, stick it at Finau a little bit. And, look, it created a bit of theatre on a Saturday. So no, it was good.
I stand with you. I err towards Tosti on that one. So
Yep.
yeah, I think what he did is cool. Yeah.
Cool.
But the old paper scissors rock. Paper scissors rock. Yeah,
In a pinch works every time.
Yeah.
Moving over the shores to the Indian Open and the DP World Tour. It was a wire-to-wire win for Kita Nakajima, and that wire-to-wire win probably took a little bit of a spark out of the event, if we're being honest. However, this win was a bit of a global coming out party for Nakajima, as he's been seen as somewhat of a prodigy, having spent 87 weeks as a top-ranked amateur in the world there for a period.
Wow.
Again, proving the merit of the feeder system in place on the DP World Tour. Nakajima earned his tour card this year, having won last year's Order of Merit on the Japan Golf Tour. So again, proving that system is working. But with the tournament as being a bit of a blowout, certainly most of my attention was shifted towards the aesthetics and the layout of the course. The DLF Golf and Country Club was an interesting one and quite distinct. Was there something in relation to the course that got your attention, Ash?
Yeah, I agree with you totally. I ended up watching it just for the pure aesthetics. I'm going to say I thought this course, the DLF, was 5-star, dare I say 6-star in aesthetics.
Okay, wow.
I thought the bunker work was a thing of art, mate. And I did a bit of research in this. It's obviously a Gary Player course. And I know Dooley, who's not with us today, was mentioning it's typical of Gary Player to be so harsh. But I looked into the bunkers. Now, the bunkers were huge. I thought they were just sensational. It got me excited, and I couldn't take my eyes off the whole course. So the layout was one thing. Huge bunkers. Now, the reason why they could be so huge is because of the way they were created and made. So the bunker themselves had a wooden wall behind it, which means they could build very, very tall 12
Yeah, they were taller than a lot of the players. Some of the walls on those.
There's a couple there that are about 12, 13 feet tall.
Wow.
And that brings real intensity. That to me is a challenge. It looks ominous, and it's you don't want to be in there, you know. Imagine us trying to hit out of one of those. So I thought
pick it up and throw it.
Yeah, that's right. The wooden reinforced, and then they used what's called geotextiling, which was used on the course to help reduce maintenance costs, and it would.
Okay.
And thousands of indigenous trees have been planted on that course too to reduce the carbon footprint. And the irrigation is provided from a lake fed with recycled and treated water. So the fact that those geotextile bunkers, they look sensational. They'll stand the test of time as well. Like that is like all you need is a coat of paint or a spray on them or something in a couple of years, and they'll look sensational. The sand only sits at the bottom, so you got less, maintenance there. I thought it was bloody awesome. Some of those tee shots, elevated tees. There was one that you had to hit 220 yards to get on the fairway. That was great to watch. I think it's the 16th or something. I loved it. I just felt that it was a real challenge. And for guys like us, we would struggle to even get in under 120, I reckon, on that course. But the overall layout, super challenging, narrow. It's a reason I wrote down here, I'd actually go to India to play that, but I have to take my baked beans to make
Warning style.
Yes, that's right.
Love it.
Nice.
And then, and finally, I'm sure you're aware that golf ball rollback is coming. Put simply, new balls from 2028 won't be able to be hit as far. Balls are regulated, and under the new regulations, if I get technical here for a bit, in the lab, what this means is that the ball, when hit with a 125 mile an hour clubhead speed, with a spin rate of 2,200 RPM and a launch angle of an 11 degrees, can't exceed 317 yards carry. Okay. Now, under the current regulations, the clubhead speed in this test is 120. So they're upping it by 5. So to use a baseball term, effectively what they're doing is taking the juice out of the ball. So it won't be able to hit as far, put simply. So naturally, our mad scientist friend, Bison DeChambeau, perhaps the longest hitter on tour, wanted to know what this would look like and so performed an experiment of his own. So in a YouTube video he posted this week, he played 9 holes with his current ball, which is the Titleist Pro V1 left dash, which is considered to be the longest ball in the game.
Right.
And compared that to a Nike 1 tour ball from 15 years ago.
Right.
So the numbers from one of his driver comparisons perhaps summarize the impact rather neatly of this rollback. So using the Nike 1 tour ball, he managed to generate a ball speed of 187 miles an hour and a carry of 315 yards. However, whilst using his Pro V1 left dash, he was able to generate ball speed of 192 miles an hour, which naturally led to a larger carry of 332 yards. So as you can see, the lower ball speed and spin rate from the older and softer compression is the cause of the lower carry. So given the results of Bryson's experiment, will you be starting to rush out and hoard current era golf balls, Ash?
Oh, myself personally, no, mate. My swing speed and that's nowhere near this, but I think a great player will. It's interesting though. It's in the 15-year period, that massive difference. Even since Nike was in the game with their balls, the difference is phenomenal, isn't it? I think the thing that's going to take over here, and I'm a bit of a fan of rolling back the game a little bit. You've heard me talk about this before. What's going to happen is driver heads are going to get better and better and better, and the ball's just going to end up flying that way anyway. But I think they haven't really thought this through very well. I didn't think. But to answer your question, no, I won't be hoarding them because I can't hit it that far.
Okay. Oh,
nice.
Here's my answer.
Oh, nice. That's what you're using? Yeah.
No, I just, as a result of the experiment, got myself a box of left dash. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm starting to hoard. Trying to get every single advantage I can.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Chris, for the news. Actually, I use a softer compression ball because I'm trying to just get on the fairway a lot more now. So, unlike you, you're getting faster and longer and harder.
Working on my speed. Working on my clubbing speed.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was the newsroom with Zuuc.
At Car Lovers, we know how much you love your car and how important it is to keep it in top-notch condition. That's why we've created the Car Lovers Infinity Wash Club, an affordable and convenient way to ensure your car stays sparkling clean all year round. Say hello to unlimited auto car washes for less than $10 a week. For details, head to carloversexpress.com.au.
Or watching the ECG Hackers podcast. I'm the Ashman, and Zuuc over here has got himself a Car Lovers shirt. We have to shout out to Car Lovers.
Thanks for the merch. Thanks for the merch.
Man. Sent us the merch. They sent us some hats last year. We played a 4-ball with them, so we'll be rocking the Car Lovers polos in a matter of months. I believe we'll be together again. I saw this great deal today, and I put it up on our chat. Linwood Golf Course got a 4-ball offer on at the moment on one of those crazy golf deal. We can get 4 players for $189 with a card. I thought that was awesome. If I was down there in Sydney, I really want to play you at Linwood because I really want to check this course out, Chris.
Yep. No, would love to have you.
Awesome. So you're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. It's the intimate one-on-one romantic episode. I'm the Ashman. This is Zuuc down in Sydney. Coming up right now is my favorite segment of the show. And the Ugandan, 5% of our audience comes from Uganda. They love this as well.
Hey there, everyone. It's Belvedere here again. It's time for this week's Who's in Your 4-Ball? Back to you, Ashman.
Belvedere doing a great job as well. Contract extension.
Always.
We're talking about the rest of the year now. Coming up later in the year, pretty exciting. We've got a lot of golf, a lot of sport. We've got obviously Olympics in July. There'll be golf there. We've got the US Masters. If you're watching this reasonably close to when we were airing it, we've got the US Masters happening in about 10 days. And we've got Live Adelaide in a couple of weeks. It's all happening. in the coming weeks in the month here, April 2024. So who's in your 4-ball? I thought we'd throw a different theme in this week. It's going to be Aussie World Champion theme. So for anyone listening,
so why did you pick that? Why did you pick that?
Oh,
Ash?
good question. Yeah, good question. I thought you'd ask me that. Because Tim Zuuc, the boxer, the son of Costa Zuuc, lost his world title fight in Vegas, I think it was last week, against
on the weekend.
huge tall bloke. It just got me thinking. There's some great Aussie World Champions out there, past and present. So I thought we'd just do an Aussie World Champion theme based on that. I hope you don't mind.
No.
As per usual, though, Chris, we'll start with you, mate. Who's your 4-ball with the Aussie World Champs?
All right. So I've taken some liberties here, as I tend to, Ash. So, but I think I've got a pretty solid lineup. So to kick things off, my team captain, I'm going to start with the current WWE Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
So she's certainly a take no prisoners team captain. So glad to have her leading the team. Why she's in the team, I guess, like most, I just want to call her mummy. So glad to have her on board.
Yeah, cool.
Can
she play golf? Who knows?
Who knows? In relation to next team member, I went with Jack Brabham. So as you know, he's F1 World Champion. And in 1966 was the only man ever to win the F1 World Championship by driving the car that he built. And so I figured I would really love to see what he could do when it comes to, golf clubs and ball design. So I reckon he would be a bit of a tinkerer, and it'd be interesting to see what he could come up with on that
potential
front.
Ben Lexton.
Absolutely. And then the next one, bear with me on this one. So I went with Ricky Ponting. So Australian Cricket World Champion, and I'm not a huge Ricky Ponting fan, so I didn't pick him so that he would play. I picked him so that I could easily swap him out for the reigning Open champion and current world number 8, Brian Harman, because no one would notice and no one could tell the difference between the two.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
So that's my team.
Yeah, love it. I actually looked at Jack Brabham in mind, so you and I sort of have some similarities.
There's something there.
Yeah, there is. My 4-ball, had a lot of fun with this one. I first went with Jeff Horn, the boxer, Australian boxer.
School teacher?
School teacher. I was there in Brisbane to watch him win against Manny Pacquiao. So Jeff Horn is an Australian boxer. He rose to international prominence with a stunning upset victory over Manny Pacquiao in 2017. Awesome event. He captured the WBO welterweight title that day. Known for his resilience, relentless, tough bugger. He embodies that grit and determination that I want on my team. And that is a highlight of one of my sporting highlights of which I've attended.
Very cool.
Second of all, I went with my favourite sportsman of all time, Shane Warne. Shane Warne, mate, I love that guy. I when I was researching this, I get teary-eyed, mate. I've never cried so much when he passed away. But Shane Warne, what a maestro of cricket. He was so inspirational. He's my favourite sportsman of all time. He revolutionised cricket with his leg spin bowling. His attitude, his confidence, everything about the way he played was how I felt at that time. If I was a cricketer, I would want to be just like that guy. So his illustrious career saw him claim over 1,000 international wickets, making him one of the greatest bowlers of all time. So I've got Jeff Horn, Shane Warne, and I'm capping off with Mick. Yeah,
Shane Warne. He's a great golfer too, doesn't he? Didn't he hit a hole in one at Augusta and is on an honour board there?
Yes. The 16th at Augusta, he hit a hole in one. He also, it was only last year, his son stumbled upon a storage unit in Melbourne that he had, and it was just jam-packed with golf clubs. He had over 300 drivers, over 400, and it was somewhat of a mystery. So, he was a huge golf collector as well, and I would love to try and get my hands on something he owned. A putter of Warnie's.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
My third and final in the 4-ball, Mick Doohan. I also grew up loving watching Mick Doohan. This guy won 5 consecutive world championships in the 500cc motorcycle, 5 in a row. That to me is top echelon anything, man.
Yep.
That's
100%.
That's Hulk Hogan stuff right there. He's a Australian motorcycle racing legend, dominated the 500cc class in the 90s, 5 consecutive world championships, fearless riding style, determination, consistency means that he is capping off my 4-ball. So I had Jeff Horn, Shane Warne, and Mick Doohan. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Who's in Your 4-ball. Here's a message from one of our sponsors.
Big brand golf balls up to 70% cheaper than retail. We're one of Australia's largest sellers of second-hand golf balls, so you save big time. Discountgolfballs.com.au. Never pay full price again.
Don't forget to, when you jump on discountgolfballs.com.au, there's actually a code you can use to get a discount. I'll put it up on the screen now if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube. Discountgolfballs.com.au, put in ECG Golf, and you will get a 10% off the car, I believe. Chris, you've been shopping on there. I know you used that code recently.
I've been eyeing it off, yes. So I'll get an order in soon on that one for sure.
Nice. Rumor has it, I thought Sandy, who looks after our locker room here at the ECG clubhouse, I thought she resigned, but she rocked up to work today, and she wants to show us the intro
Sandy,
again.
the ECG locker room supervisor. Let's get down with some locker room chat.
No worries, Sandy. I'm glad you're back. We're all glad you're back.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad she hasn't left.
That's right. Yeah, Chris. Something happened this week from the live world.
Yeah, it's probably the genesis really just come from you, Ash. You shared the link within our group chat to an interview that was conducted between Anthony Kim. It was interviewed by David Faraday. And that was it was about a 15-minute interview or thereabouts. So it was a long form piece. It wasn't short. And it covered off on a few interesting aspects around his comeback and where he's positioned himself and where he wants to position himself in the future. And there were a couple of interesting pieces and tidbits in there, and I just thought I might highlight a couple and get your thoughts on some of those, if you're happy to roll with that, Ash.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that jumped off the page immediately, if we just focus on the golf aspect first before we delve into the personal piece, was he mentioned he hadn't really played golf, until 2 or 3 months before his live start. So just to remember that his last professional event was in May 2012. So that seems a long time to have not picked up a club, and B, a relatively short time before he teed it up in live. Do you think that's believable, or do you think, what are your thoughts around that?
No, I do. From what I took out of that interview, it was a slight insight into mental health issues. I think he's obviously been through a battle, like physically battling something. And the fact that David Faraday, who's an alcoholic, was interviewing him, I thought that little 15-minute thing was great. It was soft. It was genuine. And I do believe Anthony Kim didn't pick up a golf club for 12 years. I think it was 12 years. It sounded to me like he had a hatred, or he even mentioned he didn't love the game.
Yeah, his quote was, "I never loved golf." So he kind of touched on about, he referred to his career in two pieces, his first career and now he's in his second career. He kind of touched on about how the pressure and the expectations kind of weighed on him. I don't know what it was, as if he seemed to mention his family had given up a lot for him to, push forward and be able to play golf. So it was almost as if he was playing with a weight on his shoulders. And to a degree,
it's almost like the pressure, the guilt. It was probably a lot of guilt he felt to give back to his family what they sacrificed for him. So the foundation of that, the fact that he was playing top level sport, the highest echelon, but with guilt, that would be a big weight to carry on your shoulders. So, it sounds similar to a lot of boxers that I've listened to interviewed, like Mexican boxers and South American boxers who did it for money, did it to better their family, get their family some money, their parents, sort of thing. So I felt there's a little bit of that to it. But yeah.
And I guess what was also interesting, he did list off a bit of a list of surgeries and ailments that he had. Obviously, the main ones being his Achilles, which is basically the cause of his initial departure from the game. And then he's had work on his back, and I think he mentioned some fusions and so forth. And I think Faraday kind of called him the Franken golfer. He ended up making the comment that he hits the ball further now than he ever did before. So I don't know whether that's him physical or the equipment, but you've had some Achilles issues recently. What's that like, in terms of your game and how big an impact does an Achilles have on your performance on the course?
The hardest thing about it is just walking from shot to shot. So in a swing situation, it's not bad. I mean, it's not till you get through the follow through you shorten it a little bit. I think an ankle injury is worse for golf because you lose that lateral movement in the hips a little bit, but an Achilles not so much, but it actually affects the in-between shots, if that makes any sense more.
Okay. So the walking the 7,000 yards is the bigger issue than its impact on your shot. Okay.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
And obviously, with the comeback and his disappearance, there's been some, I don't know, speculation and rumors and innuendo around the reasons why. He made some interesting comments. He didn't go into too much detail, but he did say that, he shed 98% of the people around him from his first career, and even used the word scam artists and said he didn't, realize the snakes that were around him. So some strong words there. Do you have any, thoughts or comments on that part of his story?
Yeah, I do. It's a common sort of story with recovering drug addicts, recovering alcoholics. A lot of musicians have been through some similar things with drug abuse. The hangers on, the leeches. I totally hear what he's saying, and I can imagine absolutely. I mean, this guy would have won. I don't know how many millions of dollars he won, but you can imagine the hangers on you'd get in the world of golf. I think it sounds to me he's been through quite a bit of counseling there, because that sort of reflection on what he's been through sounds like he's had some guidance, and I think that sounds fantastic for him. I think Greg Norman deserves a lot of praise for getting this kid back in the game too. I know he mentioned he did think about the PGA, but Greg Norman was the one that got him back in here. And look, I think he's changed his life, changed his direction. He did mention a lot about family, and I wanted to mention this to you, Chris, and anyone listening at home. I've got 3 kids. Becoming a father does change your perspective on everything. My firstborn was a girl as well, and I hear what Anthony Kim's saying. He's saying the moment he had a daughter, he obviously looked in the mirror at himself. And when you have a daughter, it's a big responsibility, as any child is. But it obviously changed his direction and changed the way he looked at life. And thank God he obviously made massive changes, whether it's drug addiction, I'm not sure what it is, but got him back on track. And I think it'll be a matter of 6 months or so. But I think what I really got out of that interview was the fact that parenting, changed his life, and I can understand that because it changed mine too, Chris. Yeah.
Cool.
That's
it was certainly was certainly evident, and you know, I was certainly, you know, I think, you know, certainly we as a collective at the ECG are certainly rooting for him. It was certainly, you know, great to see him shoot that 65 recently and demonstrate that he still has what it takes. And I guess, you know, the one thing as well, clearly it made mention that there's a doco about his life coming forward. So obviously the interview didn't reveal probably some of the major juicy elements that we probably, you know, would like to hear about. But I'm certainly looking forward to that documentary, and certainly would be, you know, keen to give that a view. So, you know, just to sum up, I would certainly recommend anyone listening to hunt out the interview. Just head over to Live Golf. It's on their website, and certainly a good way to kill 15 minutes on your commute to or from work.
Beautiful. Belvedere?
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on Spotify or YouTube. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter or X at ECG Hackers. Send us your funny golf tales, ecghackers@gmail.com. ECG, where everybody can golf.
Thank you, Belvedere. You're welcome to like and subscribe this video on YouTube. You can get us on Spotify as well. We drop an episode every Thursday, like Belvedere mentioned. And we're having a great lot of fun bringing this to you. I'm the Ashman. I'm from the Gold Coast in Queensland. Chris there, Zuuc, is from Sydney, Australia. Two very big golf fans, but from a hacker's perspective, you know. I was only thinking today, I don't get to play half as much golf as I would like to. Like, I know Dooley, who joins us every now and plays weekly. I live and breathe golf, though. In my mind, everything, spare time, I'm like, golf. I love watching golf and I love playing golf, but I really don't get to play enough. I am playing next week, though, at an amazing course on the Gold Coast, Sanctuary Cove, the Pines course. And I'll be playing with Kari Webb and Elisa Healy in a Spalms charity golf day. So, yeah, really looking forward to that.
Wow.
But there's always the inevitable, Chris, the inevitable top off the tee. I cannot go around without topping one. So I just want to get it out, one or two at least. But even at the range,
get out in the range beforehand. Yeah.
Top a few and then get on the course. Awesome. Before we hit ripped or yipped, there's another message from one of our friends.
Big
and we'll
brand golf balls up to 70% cheaper than retail. We're one of Australia's largest sellers of second-hand golf balls, so you save big time. Discountgolfballs.com.au. Never pay full price again.
About having golf friends is you don't agree on everything. And there's a few things coming up the next couple of issues we totally disagree on. I'm really looking forward to talking about that. But we set it up each week with this little segment called Ripped or Yipped. If we agree with something, a statement that we make, we'll call it Ripped. If we disagree, we call it Yipped. So run that videotape, Belvedere.
Hey fellas, Belvedere here again. It's time to go around the table with Ripped or Yipped. Let's see what side of the argument the boys are on. Ripped or Yipped. Back to you, Ash.
I like that music. It's signature ECG music now. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. Got Ripped or Yipped happening. I'll go to you first, and I'll hit you with a response.
Yep.
So Ripped or Yipped? Drivable par fours.
Ripped
or Yipped?
Love them. Ripped. We're at North Ride.
When's the last? Okay, North Ride. Cool.
North Ride on the weekend. I think it's the 12th. It's about. I think it was playing 2:10, 2:15 to the flag. And yeah, we all gave it a crack. I was playing with your brother Ran, Isaac, and Byron. Ran drove it pin high. Isaac got it to the rear of the green, and I drove it past the green. So we all gave it a good crack. We all connected. A hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Love drivable par fours.
And I'm guessing you bogeyed it. Inevitable three-putt or something.
No, I'm going to sound like I'm
joking. I'm only kidding.
No. I drove it that far. It was basically up against the wall with a tree between it and the hole. So it was no advantage to me playing long.
Yeah.
I think I ended up with a 6 or a 7, having to chip around the tree, and then anyway. Yeah. So a total guff, total hack, even after the big drive. So
yeah, cool. I'd go ripped as well. Love a good drivable par 4. I very rarely do one. I remember way back in the 90s, Riverside Oaks, they redid the 18th hole, and it was back in the day, it was a huge par 4, elevated tee over the water. I remember the tees were up a little bit forward when they just opened it. I had my old steelhead driver, stainless steel shaft. And when I was young, I could beat the hell out of that. And I remember driving it pin high. It was huge over the water and everything. So, yeah, absolutely love it. So, ripped drivable par 4s, absolutely. Second one, ripped or yipped, graphite shafts on irons. Ripped or yipped?
Oh, look, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. It's ripped. It's just whatever works for your swing. So you just need to understand what's your swing speed, what's your swing path, whether you want the flex at the tip or at the butt of the shaft. Those kind of qualities are more important than the actual makeup, whether it's steel, graphite, or a steel composite. So I have no problems playing graphite irons. So ripped.
Yeah, cool. Back in the day, 20 years ago, I would have said the opposite, but I'll go ripped now. I use graphite shafts on my irons. I use single length irons. I would have said
a single length.
Oh, I love it. I'm really consistent. I'm getting a good draw shape to everything. And I'm feeling comfortable with my irons. I remember back last year, I was saying when we played Sawtell, I think it was in November, I kept saying that night before, I'm really worried about my irons. Now I'm going to a game feeling really confident with them. So ripped graphite shaft on irons. Cool. This is a great one. This was given to us by one of our listeners. Ripped or yipped, use of periscopes in the gallery. I believe they're now banned in the gallery. Ripped or yipped? Use of the periscope. Remember those? You see?
Yeah. Oh, look, you see them all the time. They just hold them. Just the white box with the mirror at the top, at the bottom.
Yeah.
I've got to go yipped. I'm lucky enough. I'm a reasonably tall gentleman, so I can kind of see, and those kind of things get in my way in my field of vision. So selfishly, I'm going to say yipped.
So the use of periscopes in the gallery, I'm going to go ripped. I think it's fine for someone to use them. I wouldn't use them, but I think they bring them back. Bring them back. Merchandise potential. Imagine you had 4
100%.
aces periscopes, or there's a lot you could do there with merchandising again. Maybe Liv will bring them back. PGA players mandated to wear long pants. Ripped or yipped?
I'm ripped. I prefer the professional look on the golf course. I even think it should be mandated that their caddies should be wearing pants. They're wearing shorts. It just looks odd with the player in pants and them and the caddy in shorts. I'm all for pants at that level, just to present. A better look and a more professional look. So, ripped.
Funny enough, I'm going to go ripped as well. I actually think it looks better.
That surprises me.
I know.
Given your live affinity.
Yeah, but look, when I watch Liv, you see Pat Perez or someone wearing shorts and he's got long hair and his Nikes on. I don't know.
Wow.
That's okay for Liv, but I personally, if I was playing a golf tournament, I'd wear long pants. and I'd probably wear FootJoys, the two-tone FootJoys. Like I'm pretty old school sometimes when it comes to some things.
Okay.
But the problem does come, like if you're playing in India, like they were last week, or if you're playing in Singapore, it's bloody hot. And I think once it gets over 30 degrees, there should be an option. But I'm all for long pants, funny enough. Shock and horror. The DLF bunkers, ripped or yipped? The eco, what did I call it? They were geotextile bunkers.
Yeah, I had no problem with the construction. My problem was with their height. So I'm ripped on the height, not on the technology. I'm also eco-friendly, lower maintenance, those kind of things. But having those things, 15 feet high, it's just cruel to non-professional golfers. So I just yipped on my end.
Yeah, cool. I'll go ripped. I'll disagree there. I thought they were bloody amazing and creates a new challenge. So you don't want to get in that bunker because you can't hit it straight. You have to do backwards or left. So I think it just creates a different aspect to it. So I'll go ripped. Par 5 holes longer than 500 meters, or I'll say par 5 holes longer than 500, or par 6s, ripped or yipped.
I'm torn on this one. Obviously, we're coming from a social or an amateur perspective here. I really think yipped. I think 500 meters should be the maximum for a social or a hacker. That's a drive and 2 good shots to get there, and anything more than that really
5 on,
it makes it tough for me. I just think anything longer than that takes away from it, because inevitably a hacker, that's 3 good shots to get there. On an average day, it's probably going to be 4. And so if it's any longer, you might be getting into that 5 shots just to get to the green, given a miss hit or a miscue along the way. So that's a yip for me.
Yeah. I'll say I do love a long par 5, but a par 6, I'll go yipped. A par 5, big drive, a big wood, and then a little chip on. That's great. No, but par 6s, like you said, I can't go take my son or my wife to go play a par 6. It'd take you 30 minutes to finish that hole. Cool. This is one that also somebody else wrote in for us. A pro shop announcing a tee-off grouping, ripped or yipped. So you're at the first tee. It's Saturday afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. You're with a couple of mates. The pressure's on. Bang! You got the guy in the pro shop on the tee. Please, group number 124. Ripped or yipped, Chris?
100% ripped. It's one of the best things that happens out at North Ryde. Announcing the tee times. None of this. You're seeing the groups congregating around the practice green and the tee box, and you're kind of asking what time is you teeing off. It just kind of makes things work and makes sure that you're teeing off in the right order. It's frustrating when it's not there. So I've grown fond of it. So ripped from me.
You know what? I'll go ripped as well. How it's such a G up, gets the hairs on the back of your neck up when you get that call. North Ryde have been doing that for ever since I can remember. I remember early 90s, mid 90s, they were still doing it. And it creates a bit of an atmosphere because we're not next, this group's next. And you're watching, and yes, the pressure's on, but sometimes pressure creates diamonds. So, and that first there, you can get a big pumping drive on that first tee at North Ryde from memory. If it's the same layout, you can get it fairway down that fairway.
Yeah, you just got to watch out for the water. So a lot of the time, it's it can be an iron option to tee off just to take the water out of play.
Is there still a tree in front of the green?
No tree in front of the green. No. Just the water hazard on the left-hand side. And you're right. There's a bit of an amphitheatre there in terms of people standing around watching, waiting. So you want to bring your A game and crush something off the tee.
Yeah, nice. The last one for Ripped or Yipped this week, wide brim hats on the course. You never see the pros wearing them much anymore. Ripped or Yipped for a wide brim hat?
I'm a Yipped. I just wear a baseball style cap or a bucket cap, a wide brim shark style cap. I don't know. It just seems as if it's too big, going to get in the way, awkward. I don't know. I just never gravitated towards it. So just a personal choice. So a Yipped for me.
Yeah, cool. If we're going personal choice, I stick to a fedora width at the most. I feel like it's too restrictive, a big wide hat. I mean, I wear a lot of hats, but I couldn't wear a Greg Norman style hat. So I'll go wide brim hats on the course, Yipped.
Danny Gale didn't convince you with the yellow Titleist cap?
I don't like that. I didn't notice your mate Mitch Morgan wore one as well, didn't he?
Yeah, no, there's a charity aspect around that as well. So it's not it's for a good cause. So I might have to try and get one.
Yeah, nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Ripped or Yipped. One message, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Car lovers, we know how much you love your car and how important it is to keep it in top-notch condition. That's why we've created the Car Lovers Infinity Wash Club, an affordable and convenient way to ensure your car stays sparkling clean all year round. Say hello to unlimited auto car washes for less than $10 a week. For details, head to carloversexpress.com.au.
Thank you, Belvedere. We'll just wrap the show up in a couple of minutes, but before we do, a few things I want to update Chris with you. The ECG Lifetime Member Board is now a new thing. I'll just bring it up on the screen for you right now. If you can run through who's now been nominated as a lifetime member for the ECG, Chris.
So I guess we're dealing with people, and by the looks of it, inanimate objects as well, that have a connection with the show. And they're being honoured by receiving a lifetime membership to the ECG. So those so far are Ben Baller and Mitch Morgan, who have participated in interviews. The North Ride Snitch Book, which has featured on our Instas, as well as Jason Day, who was handy with the fist bumps and the like, whilst ECG members Isaac, Byron, and Randall were out there at the Genesis. So happy to have those on board as lifetime members.
Yeah, absolutely. Also got updates to the manifesto, the ECG manifesto. So if you want to read the last two out there, I'm not sure if you can read it. You're probably on a phone or something.
Yeah, no, I can read it. So based on the last week's episode, just a couple of more things to add to our golfing manifesto. The first being, only the bravest of golfers shall enter the practice bunker next to the clubhouse.
100%.
100%. All on the practice green, and those windows on the clubhouse are in danger anytime someone steps in. So again, it's a case of bringing your A game. And then also, this is a tip to you, Ash, just reminding everyone that there is no shame in bringing your own clubs to Top Golf. So
thank you. There we go. No shame. And lastly, before we want to finish the show, there's a couple of things actually. Dooley played his golf tournament today. Have a look at if you can see, that is on YouTube or Spotify. If you're listening on the radio, you won't see it, but the fairways he was dealing with were pretty crappy today, and so much so that I put on the background of our podcast here, and I think it'll stay there. Also, lastly, Joe Flaherty passed away this week. He's a Hollywood actor who was the famous heckler from Happy Gilmore. So he passed away earlier this week. Rest in peace.
Happy trails.
Joe.
Absolutely.
Happy trails. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, golfers of the world, that, my friends, was this week's ECG Hackers podcast. I'm the Ashman. That was Zuuc. It's been a pleasure, Chris.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it as always.
Love it, bro. See you same time next week, people.
You're listening to the ECG Hackers podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Each week we are dropping a new episode which you can find on Spotify or YouTube. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter or